and I saw the Tesla coil and thought my engineer, and as I thought that, it got struck by a Tesla coil and killed. Now I saw how weak this tank was and thought it has to get away because it'll die for nothing. So, and I saw the MCV and thought, right, I'll try and get some damage on it, but I can't follow that and get strung out behind it. I need to kill the enemy as they arrive because I can kill them piecemeal at this point. Now he can see all my stuff.
Battle control initialized.
Hello there, comrades and cannon fodder. It's Dvoid here. I've got a 1v1 multiplayer game, and this one's on Assault map. Both players are using France, but I'm not playing in this game. We've got Sensi, who is donb, is known as Sensi, and Milkman. And they're both using France on Assault map. But I got this replay from the Openra Red Discord. I think it was the Academy page on the Discord. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I don't know how this game's going to go. I haven't seen it myself. But one of the players posted it on the Discord and asked for opinions and advice, basically. So I thought I'd swipe up the replay and make a post using it and I'll add a second replay of one of my games to it. Just so the post is, you know, is a bit more substantial, more game time. Now, donb is capturing his oil derrick, so is Milkman, although this is a War Factory first build look, so Milkman has got very few rifles. Basically, you have enough to tell you to get your engineer out of there when the enemy comes close. That's what you have enough for, and it's obvious when your opponent sees that's how many rifles you've got, he'll know you're going War Factory first, so it's a risk, I think, but these players that use it seem to handle it well enough. And the engineer's looking vulnerable there. Now, the thing is, I would actually scout around here because you would place rifle guards in case the enemy wanted to try and snipe your engineer from the sides. You would place rifle guards at the sides, like this guy did. So that's why I would have used these to check here. And yeah, he's grouped 3 rifles together. So he has been overrun, but he's killed a rifleman. He's lost 2. But it looks like donb is he might be pausing there. He's not going in. Like, he's not going to target a power plant or anything by the looks of that. He hasn't even cleared away these rifles. And if his engineer gets close, 3 rifles is enough to move in there because he'll have the view range, Milkman. He can see that, you see. So even though they're under fire from a rifleman, it's not enough. And they even killed the rifleman trying to stop them. They lost 1 rifle. But that engineer's gone now, and the oil derrick still belongs to him. He's got his scout vehicle, although he did build an ore truck first. Milkman has got a light tank now, and his engineer's safe. He's still got his first oil derrick, just like donb has. So, you know, the situation's even, really. You see what I mean? They seem to handle the War Factory first build, you know, fairly well. And if we look, like, donb's got 2 ore trucks, Milkman's got 2, but they've earned the same. In fact, donb has earned more. Now it's just taken over Milkman. Track the earnings and he's got a scout vehicle now, donb. They've both got light tanks, both using France, of course. But donb's got medics in his army. I think that's, you know, the earlier you have them, the better, because it keeps more infantry alive, which means more veterans, you know, and it's all for the better. Now we've got 2 light tanks engaging. You don't want to do that. Let these guys back him up. Now there are 4 rocket soldiers at the front line for donb. Milkman doesn't have any. Yeah, he's got a few rocket soldiers now. There's a couple. And that's the War Factory first build, you see, at the 2-minute mark. And because he's lost his engineer, he's going to destroy that. But at the 2-minute mark, you train rocket soldiers, or at least put them in the build queue. But with the War Factory first build, it's different. You have a point where you just have no money at one point. And let's just track the earnings so far. 17,000 each, you see. So that War Factory First build was vulnerable, but he's got a radar dome, so it's different. It's a kind of, he's gone for a tech build, so it is different. But they have the same amount of earnings when I when I just checked then. So yeah, so the War Factory First with the extra ore trucks and stuff, you don't get extra cash, especially early on. But like I say, I think it's a more difficult build to use than the double ref. I stick to that double ref build usually, and it's just better. I prefer having the early infantry group. But the thing is, if you don't use that infantry, there's no point having it. So, and like I say, these players that use the War Factory First build, they do handle it. They know what they're doing, and if things start to go wrong, they know how to adapt and stuff. And he's got artillery there. There's another artillery piece, very nice, and the army values are 10,000 to donb, 11 to 8,000 to milkman. And he's got medium tanks at the front line, but milkman hasn't. He's got his light tank, but that's not enough. It's a mistake not to have medium tanks, and before artillery as well. You need 1 or 2 at least. Artillery are great, but he can't hold up. Once these tanks start to grow in numbers. But, you know, you can adapt your strategy and fighting techniques, fighting style to work around not having... There you go, he's got his medium tank, that's good. Yeah, glad to see that. Now, donb knew to back away. I don't know if he saw the artillery or not. Here we go. And he will now. He'll have heard that. Now, light tank needs to back away because it's a useful vehicle, it moves quickly, and it's useful for other jobs that the medium tanks aren't as well suited to. Like, it can chase MCVs, it can counter flak trucks and artillery. So I like to keep my light tank alive and keep it kind of away from the front line once I've got tanks. Medium tanks. Well, this is a nice force here. Even though he's behind in army value slightly, he's got these artillery, but he's not getting them into combat yet. But he's got a small force to stop this, and it's just a shame that moved away. We'll see at what point he notices. And there's another flank attack here from donb, and a small couple of engines. He's going to lose that service depot. And he's repairing, he's there, so he should be building a service depot now, although he won't be, because he'll probably be building a refinery. But you need to get that placed, and get a service depot built. But now you can switch to build an artillery piece or light tanks, because he's not building tanks. Now he's lost his service depot, he can't build mediums, so that means his build queue is stopped. Which is why you should have light tanks or artillery, either build them quickly or have them ready to be built. But he's caught out this MCV. Now, medium tanks can catch that. It looked like he used the alt move command, but it just couldn't get it away. He couldn't get away, but he should place a barracks and use a mechanic to capture that. That's something that, you know, you want to be wary of. Don't leave your opponents in control of the wrecks of your MCV if possible, because they'll steal it. Now, there's a small attack here, although there's plenty of infantry to deal with it. He's done right, look, he's ordered some away, some to defend. That's very good. Now he's got these different attacks, probing attacks. Now his opponent's going to see that coming if he's sharp. Now he's killed that. So the thing is, this force has been caught out, although some nice artillery shots. He's got his artillery pieces separate. That should be running, and it'll be caught by a helicopter anyway. That's a shame. And he had his second artillery up here. There it is. Now, it's not a very big attack force. It needs to stand off and use the artillery piece, because there's too much here to stop it. And now this donb can go on to the attack again, because he knows he's in a strong situation. He's got double the army value. Or yeah, he has, yeah. And there's a decent force to stop him. Although he should be behind his structures. He shouldn't have moved forward into that. Although he's getting a good formation. No, he can't fight that. It's got a good formation with these here, and he can place base defences, but I don't know why he isn't. He's got his service depot back. You see, there's light tanks building. But he should have kept those units back, those troops. And they cost a lot of power. So he shouldn't have placed... But then again, he needed to get rid of the helicopters. So the AA gun, you know, they are good. But these guys need to be rallying here, not attack moving in. They're alright, that's okay. Where's the base defences? What's going on? Right, now it's 16,000 army value to donb, 3,000 to milkman. I'm surprised by this, to be fair. Although I know both are very good players, but yeah, I'm not surprised after this sort of game that he's posted a few replays on the Openra Red Discord, and there is, like I say, asking for advice and things like that for players to review the replays. So yeah, from what I've seen, he should have got some. He did okay getting the artillery early, and he did have medium tanks in time, but I still would build mediums first. And it was, I would only fight behind structures, but he should know any of the basics like this that I could tell him. He should know, because as far as I know, he's a better player than I am. So he should, like I say, like here, he should be fighting behind his structures, and he's placing base defences and stuff properly now. He's got some artillery, but without the medium tanks to back them up, he didn't have enough of a medium tank force. And then you see the thing is the medium tanks screen your forces while your artillery, and hold the enemy at bay, while your infantry do most of the damage, but the artillery also do extra damage, because the enemy will have tanks and infantry to do the same as you. That's why your artillery are extra and they need to be, you fight around having them, and that means not overcommitting, and this guy was attacking enough. But you need the medium tanks to hold the enemy in place, make them commit, so you can use your artillery pieces. But you'd never had enough of a medium tank force to fight the enemy, and he's got a service depot, but still light tanks churning out. But I think he's actually choosing to, because he's sending them on quick eco raids, look. So I think he chose to build light tanks on purpose. And now the enemy is not pressing his advantage. Although he will here, look, that'll kill his newest expansion. And he's got no other ore. This isn't enough. He's in trouble, because when this backs away, he's being watched. These helicopters have a lot of view range. So he's being watched, and when he abandons this to defend it, they'll pounce. And I'm surprised why he hasn't attacked more, because he's just like had no luck down here attacking there. There's enough infantry to stop him. Now there's a medium tank. There's another. So that's okay. He's sending a force away here now. He's got artillery. But this isn't in response to anything. This is him choosing to move out, and he's left a force here, a very small force. You see, as soon as he moves out, this guy's here. They should be behind the base defences and structures. Yeah, he's placing them well, but now he's got no infantry mass. Why would they back off? You can see there's nothing there. So basically, it looks like, yeah, he's attacking there, and the artillery, and he can see everything his opponent's doing. Look, these helicopters are watching everything, so it can kill these artillery pieces, but the AA gun will actually stop it. Now his artillery need to run away from those tanks. You see, this force could just destroy all this here. Strange. And he's had to turn around with his MCV. 31,000 army value to donb, and Milkman's managed to get a 16,000 army value and actually stay in the fight. He should be producing here. Yeah, he is. Let's just check the cash situation. He's got no money, that's why he's not building anything. This force will be destroyed. There's not enough to protect the artillery, and there's, what, one medium tank. So, the infantry oh look, there's Tanya as well. There you go. Yeah, I knew that force would just be wiped out immediately. You need to take an MCV with you and place barracks in front of you when you're fighting like that. There should be, you know, place barracks around the enemy and base defences, and then place units and defences from where they can't see. Which means, this is what he can see, so you rally your infantry there when he was down here. Now he's called it. There's the satellite in effect. Did you see that briefly? That was showing you all your opponent's assets, that satellite image. That was Sensi's point of view, donb's point of view. But there you go, he's called it, because there was nothing he could do. He was completely trapped in that situation. But for basic advice, he needed a medium tank force earlier, and he could have at least put up more of a fight and compete more. He could have challenged his opponent more effectively with a better medium tank force, and then build an artillery piece or two later. That radar dome was too soon. That basically put him behind. I think the radar dome, against a player like this, you need to try and fight them and play the start of the game with standard units. You need the bulk and mass of standard units first. Without that, the extra assets and tech assets will be a liability, because you'll have a smaller force because you've built them, and there won't be enough, and you won't have enough standard units to make the enemy commit and allow you to use those tech assets. The radar dome killed Milkman, is my opinion. That's my humble opinion, and there are far better players that could maybe tell you otherwise. But I think in this case he should have gone with a standard build and got basic mass first for his army, and then get the radar dome after you've expanded and secured a decent expansion. But I'll go through the graphs and charts. Look, he was only slightly behind. He did well, considering he had that radar dome. But maybe if he did go with that, he got away with it, and he started to produce medium tanks. He got away with that, but maybe get into action a bit sooner. Perhaps somehow try and harass the enemy, maybe with a ranger or two for some view range to spot with your early artillery pieces. Just try and do a bit of harassment. I've seen it used well, that kind of build. It's just, you need to be sure against a decent player. You know, you need to have the basics covered. But there's the army graph, look, and he took a massive beating, but he did well to fight on. I'll give him that, although his opponent could have finished it far sooner, I believe. But he may have overcommitted, and he may not have wanted to overcommit and risk failing and losing. Maybe that's what he was thinking when he was backing off, although I think at least the final time he backed off wasn't necessary. He could have just pressed on. I think he knew it. There's the earnings graph, some ups and downs there, look, and is that players, donb's finishing army, he's got some Black Hawks, radar jammers in effect, they're very nice, artillery, medium tanks, he's got a Tanya, mechanics, medics, and a good force of infantry. So very good. He's got a 31,000 army value there. That's a decent force, like, and his opponent was fighting, so it's good to have that amount. You know, he's lost 4 structures, donb. Milkman lost 9 before he gave it up, and donb killed 264 of his opponent's units. Milkman killed 131 of his opponent's units. There's 63,000 credits worth of destroyed units for donb of his opponent's units, and Milkman killed 39,000 credits worth of his opponent's units. So support powers, he had the GPS satellite in effect, and you saw it take effect just briefly before the end, where you get the symbols of structures and units and everything. You can see where the enemy is under the shroud. So it's extremely effective ability, very good. Production, so he's still building away, standard stuff. His economy, he's got 8 ore trucks and hung on to his oil derrick. He earned, donb earned 109,000, Milkman earned 92,000, so they were good for earnings. It's just Milkman got cut off at the end. donb's got 5,900, Milkman's got a couple of grand left, just over 2,200. 29 actions per minute for donb, 22 actions per minute for Milkman. There's your scores and that. And there's the first game. I'm going to go to, excuse me, I'm going to go to a second replay, and this is one of my games. This is the last game I fought earlier tonight. And we're on, this is a 1v1 multiplayer game on Marsara map. I'm using Russia, and my opponent's using Russia as well for this one. So this is a map, I quite like this one, and I don't get to use it very often, but it's got these 2 oil derricks and then a central communication centre. Now that gives you a lot of view range. So whenever they're in a map like this, wherever they are on a map, they're always quite an important feature, a communication centre, because if your opponent captures it, he's got view range like that, which means you can't send forces to attack through the centre without them being seen. So it is an important asset to take hold of or capture, or at least, you know, destroy it if your enemy's using it. It's they're very effective, the communication sensors, if you can capture it. And we've got these 2 oil derricks, and I sent 3 rifles straight to this one, see what's going on, and my opponent is bumped straight into them. So I'd taken out a rifleman, I lost one of my own, and I thought I'd back away, because I'm assuming he's sent all of his forces there to secure it. So I'm moving away, and now securing this one. And even though I know he's got units here, it doesn't mean he hasn't sent something over here. He could have sent a rifleman there, down, and then to intercept my engineer. Like, his is there, look. So I built my engineer a little sooner, but his is in there. His is on the way, look. Now, it's not very well protected. All I would have to do is sneak up behind. But he is securing the centre, because I think he's got his eye on the comm centre, obviously. And I've captured my oil derrick. My opponent's just started to capture his. So let's see, we've got double ref build each. And I've left a few riflemen to guard my base, which you should always do. My opponent hasn't. And my opponent's got, that looks like, yeah, I've got 17. He's at 15. He's got a rocket soldier now, and I haven't trained a first rocket soldier yet. We're passing 2 minutes, although a rocket soldier will be on my build queue. 1,000 army value each, 2,700 I should say. 20 to 20 and 2 rocket soldiers each. I've just ticked over to 21 though, but yeah, we've got a very close sized army each. Both got our engineer intact. My opponent's killed 4 of my riflemen though. I've killed 1 of his, so yeah. Both building our 3rd refinery by the looks of it. And scout vehicles. Yeah, we're both getting an APC. So let's see. My opponent's not leaving any units at his base. Now, I would often use a Gren drop, and I did think about it, but not this early. I haven't been using them this early. Not lately. Although I need to start putting them back into my standard tactics again, because Gren drops are excellent. I've won many a game because of them. Last time I used one, I think it really blasted the enemy's base and it finished them off. In fact, that was a recent post, and I saw this. Look, obviously I've got it on my view range because it's my oil derrick. Now, I wanted rid of that engineer, so when I saw this separate from the troops, I took the chance, killed the engineer, and sent my infantry after that. Now, he got away, but he's attacking my oil derrick, and I thought, right, I'm going to run him over while he's got a different target. Shoot the rocket soldier, although I only got a couple of shots on him. Look, I'm trying to get away. Yeah, I made it, and I've destroyed my enemy's APC, and made the enemy retreat. He's legging it, but I've still got to be careful with my engineer. And I've sent that back, and he's going for repairs. Now, this is the enemy's view range from that. Look, you can see loads. So he's backing off here, and he's actually brought a harvester, an ore truck, for screening. That's a very nice move. So I'm shooting the ore truck while his infantry are killing my troops, and it worked perfectly. I've got to get out of here, got to get my engineer away, and my scout vehicle, I couldn't let it finish repairing. I tried to bring it back, but by the time it arrived, I had that few infantry left. There's no point screening them. I don't want to lose my APC at half health and lose it just to screen, you know, 5 infantry. So, you know, I called it off, went to repair it fully, and in the meantime get more infantry. So let's see what state that's left me. 3,600 to my opponent. I've just got 5,000 army value, so I'm doing fine. I've set up my expansion MCV over here, but I'm still placing barracks. That was a bit of a distraction. There's my first tank. And I've sent out my home base MCV straight away because I thought, right, I'm not messing about. And now I'm taking a risk because there's nothing here to escort it. And I could have used my APC as well. There's no reason why not. He could have got here quickly. But I took the chance and thought I'll go for rapid expansion and distract him in the meantime, just to cover some more ground. and my opponent's got an expansion set up and a Tesla coil protecting it. That's good. But here we are, I've got vehicles, and just fumbling the controls, my APC died. I couldn't prevent it from going first, and I saw the Tesla coil and thought my engineer. And as I thought that, it got struck by a Tesla coil and killed. Now I saw how weak this tank was and thought it has to get away because it'll die for nothing. So, and I saw the MCV and thought, right, I'll try and get some damage on it, but I can't follow that and get strung out behind it. I need to kill the enemy as they arrive, because I can kill them piecemeal at this point. Now he can see all my stuff. Look, this is his view range, it's very good. This is mine. So I'm in trouble. If he's got a decent sized army, I'm in trouble. Luckily I've overrun him. Now his MCV couldn't get away. I have to destroy all this. But this communication centre is still spotting all my reinforcements as they move past. Now I've got my barracks moving there, look. Tanks, as soon as they come out, they're moving past here. So I've got a problem with that comm centre, and I thought, right, I'm going to press my attack. And I still haven't got that repaired. I've ordered it to now, but, you know, it should have been repaired by now. And at least I haven't lost it though, and there you go, it ran into the enemy here. See, that's a nuisance. And there's my MCV, and because I'm being reckless, I nearly drove into that lot. And I'm okay, I'm fighting here, it's probably distracting him, but I noticed I've got something ready to place. There you go, I'm fighting their base defence, and I saw that. Now I'm repairing, but it can't stand up to a Tesla coil. And look, my tanks, and my opponent's calling it at this point. There you go, it was a sharp, brutal battle. As always, a good game against this opponent. It's my favourite opponent, this guy, anyway. So there you go, I took my chances and took a risk with my expansions. This one nearly cost me an MCV, but there was a big distraction going on, so my opponent couldn't do anything about it anyway. Luckily, it didn't drive into range of the Tesla coil as an MCV because it would have fried it. So I was lucky that I ordered it to set up where I did. That was a little bit of luck. I'll remember in future to stay out of Tesla coil range if you're being reckless with your MCV. I'll remember that. But it paid off in the end because the distraction was all in the centre, and then I pressed the advantage and went for the enemy's base. But I'll just go through the graphs and charts quickly for you. Look how even that was up until the 4th minute nearly, and then my opponent suffered some severe losses. But he did recover, it was just he was behind me a bit, and then that was it. The losses he suffered towards the end were too much. But yeah, it shows you how close it was, that army graph. Here's the earnings graph, and look at that. My opponent did better for earnings than me, so yeah, it's if I didn't finish my opponent when I did, it was it could have gone on because, you know, his earnings were superior to mine. If I'd have let that take you know, sort of like let my opponent take advantage of that and build up a force and start expanding a bit, then I would have had trouble dealing with him, and you never know what can happen after that. So that was a threat, you know, and there's my finishing army. Only a few heavy tanks, 4, got a flamethrower, rocket soldiers and a few riflemen. Combat chart, I got a 9,900 value army. I lost a structure, my opponent lost 11. I killed 93 units, my opponent killed 82. I destroyed 26,000 credits worth of my opponent's assets, and my opponent destroyed 14,000 credits worth of my assets. There are no support powers in effect because it's too early, it's very early game. But it's a good one considering the amount of combat that we're not even at 7.5 minutes, and the amount of combat we've had. It's, you know, only a good player puts up a fight like that, you know. Even if it is a brief game, any player can have a short game. It doesn't matter how good you are. If things turn against you, you know, it'll take one mistake. So it doesn't matter if it's a short game. It was a good one. And there's my production. I'm still building barracks because I need one to place here so I can start fighting over there, because obviously my opponent had structures and base defences here. So I wanted to probably capture them or secure it, whatever, and at least defend the construction yard. But I've got 7 ore trucks left, and oil derricks, I lost it, it was destroyed. Yeah, my opponent's got some cash left, I've got a couple of grand. I earned 42,000 credits, I should say. My opponent earned 45,000 credits. Basics, I was at 31 actions per minute. My opponent was at 36 actions per minute. There's your scores and kills, etc, etc. And I hope you enjoyed the games. If you enjoyed what you saw, give us a sub and a like. That's all for now. So take good care of yourselves. Thank you very much and goodbye.
Battle control terminated.